Capricorn, what is March? What is your tarot reading? What is your tarot reading for March? What is March? A, it's a month. B, actually there is no B. We're just talking about month March. And I guess the real question, Capricorn, if we're getting serious here, it's not is it March? It's what is the divine message for you for your month of March? What are the answers that you need to best align you with your highest self, your highest path, your highest good? What are the downloads, the insights, the little nuggets of wisdom that are going to help you level up this month, make this month the very best it can be? Still, that's like a mouthful, and I think it's just more fun to say, what is March? What else? Oh, I'm Desi, by the way. This is my channel, Starchaeology Tarot. Thank you so much for being here. If you would like or subscribe, everyone's freaking out about liking or subscribing. The people have spoken. So if you need a sign, Capricorn, that it's time to like or subscribe, that was your sign. Take it or leave it, okay? But God has spoken. If you have a burning desire, a burning question, a burning intention to set, take time to focus on that while I tune in with spirit and shuffle. What else? Some of this is going to resonate with you. Some of it's not going to resonate with you, because that's what happens with collective readings, you guys. We're reading for the collective here, and all of you Capricorns are actually individuals. If you want a more complete picture of the complex being that you are, please check out your other placements. Your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising, your Venus, etc., etc. This one is good. This video is good for Capricorn, sun, moon, rising, Venus. We'll leave it there. Okay, what am I doing? Guys, let's get on with your reading. I'm so happy you're here. Let's do this. Capricorn, wowzers. Okay, we got the Hierophant. Did you see how he flew straight out of the deck? We got the Five of Pentacles. We got the Eight of Wands. Good news is that all of March is leading up to some excellent news for you. Swift action, desires flying through space to meet you halfway, as long as you're willing and able to co-create with the universe. You know what that's dependent on though, Capricorn? Your brain. And here's the thing. This is, here's the thing. There's definitely a challenge. There's a challenge in meeting the universe halfway with this good news. There's a challenge to overcome, an obstacle here to overcome in order to get to be in that position where you're just acting from a state of pure fire, of pure desire, of not thinking your way into limitation, let's put it that way, but rather just acting from the power and wisdom that comes from being aligned with soul purpose, because that's what this Eight of Wands is all about. We see these ones like flying through space, flying through the air. And to me, it's a wonderful affirmation that there's nothing that makes action happen. There's no power that moves mountains as much as the powers of our own magnetic desires. Do we play with the magnetism of the universe that exists? Do we harness that and use it for our excuse me, truck. This is so rude. Wow, so rude. What was I saying? Oh yeah, nothing travels as quickly as energy. Nothing travels as quickly as energy. And we're often so quick to limit our idea of action to just what we can see happening, when really energy moves so much more quickly than a person, a car, a thing, a physical action. Energy moves in an instant. It can go so far. And we have to ask ourselves, how are we using that energy to bring about what we want, to bring about our desires, to put our desires into motion? And for you, Capricorn, this has a lot to do with questioning dogma. I mean, for some of you, this might be literally religion. Like we have the Hierophant here. This could be literally about questioning religion, questioning intellectual tradition in some sort of way, and your education in that tradition. So whether we're talking about a literal religion here or a metaphorical religion, a dogma that you were educated in from a very young age, something that you were trained in the same way that everyone in your particular society or culture was trained in. There is tradition in this belief system. There's tradition in this dogma. And you are expected, as we all are, for different sets of dogma, expected to just buy into this on blind faith alone. It wasn't up for debate whether you could think critically about it, whether you could look at some other options and then decide what make the most sense for you. This is really represents a code of rules and beliefs that are just accepted on faith. It's just accepted, and that's the way it is. And that kind of acts on the assumption that people are more comfortable having someone else tell them what to do or what to think in certain areas of their lives, especially in the realm of the mystical, especially in the realm of religion, which is why we have this Pope-like figure here. But especially in matters that we don't really understand, that go beyond our physical understanding, our scientific understanding. And there's so much mystery. There's so much mystery about the nature of our existence. Yeah, we've figured a lot out. That's great. But it's kind of funny to me how people get very arrogant at times and think, oh, well, science is so advanced. We have probably most of the answers now. No, we don't. We don't have most of the answers. And especially in the realm of manifestation, energy, our energetic connection with each other, with ourselves, with our outer world, with our dreams, with our physical realities, with the dimensions of existence, the planes of existence. So there's something here, Capricorn, about this doctrine, this dogma. You're coming up to face this in a way. You're being challenged actually by this in a way. Something in March is bringing this face to face with you. And suddenly you find yourself in a position where maybe it actually is up for debate. I want to question that. I want to rebel against that dogma, that doctrine that I accepted unquestioningly earlier in my life. Now I want to question it. And that's because you are seeking what you are seeking, Capricorn, is your own inner dogma. Instead of an outer dogma, an outer doctrine being placed upon you, you're being challenged in a way now to see what happens when that outer influence, the outer way, goes away. What's the inner doctrine that emerges in you? And I think this inner doctrine has something to do with you understanding that sanctuary is right under your nose. That peace, that everything that you want, that this good news is actually not that far away from you at all. But rather that certain mindsets, like scarcity mindsets, keep us not only in a limited state of thinking, but a limited reality. If we get so used to our circumstances, then sometimes we resist the very things that would change those circumstances for the better. which, as you can see in this card, I mean, we have these beggars literally outside of this church, literally outside of this sanctuary. And they don't even seem to notice that this sanctuary is right behind them. And how funny that this is a church and we have the Pope here. I mean, this is a matter of faith for you. Capricorn says, the question here for March is, what are you putting your faith in? I'm hearing for some of you, the faith that you have put in is a faith in non-mystery. It's a faith in certainty, in logical, in rational. And the tradition, the intellectual tradition, is in only believing things that you can explain very clearly. And that has limited your experience. Because the church represents this blind faith. This church represents faith in something much bigger than ourselves, something that we can't necessarily understand. And these beggars are suffering in front of this structure that they're convinced doesn't exist because it's too mysterious, because it deals in realms that they're not comfortable with, that are not rational, that aren't logical, that don't honor their intellectual tradition. But what if stepping outside that intellectual tradition, what they were educated in, what brought them up until this point, what if stepping outside of that improved the state of their life, improved the quality of their life? I think for you, Capricorn, this is a question. Would you rather live in a state of faith, even if you didn't have all the answers yet? Would it bring you more peace? Versus living in the state of whatever you have faith to now, because we all have faith to something. Something is creating a faith for you now, a faith to this intellectual tradition that has brought you and served you up until this point. But you are in a place where you're suffering, Capricorn, in certain ways. You are in a place where you feel poor. You are lacking. You know you're lacking. You know you're not being taken care of in some way. So what could change about where you're placing your faith that could instantly expand your world? That could be an instant way of feeling better, just feeling better about your present moment, about the truth of your reality, even if you're not certain about what that truth is, but what you have faith in. What is your inner dogma saying, Capricorn? I'm sensing that some of you have this inner voice that is making itself known, that is trying to rebel against this orthodoxy, against this convention, the convention of society's ideas and codes, or your culture's ideas and codes, or your organization's ideas and codes, or even your family's ideas and codes. There's a part of you, a voice in you, that is coming from a place where you don't know who that is, but it has authority. It's the quiet inner knowing voice. And because you don't know why, because there's so much mystery surrounding that voice, you're very quick to try to silence it because it doesn't go hand in hand with what convention has taught you, what your education has taught you up until this point. But listening to the voice, you don't have to act on it, but listening to the voice, making space for the voice, letting that voice be heard, that only can expand your world. That only can it can push you beyond the limits of what this convention and tradition has served you up until this point, because now you're ready to go beyond what this is. This has provided a very good foundation for you. It's provided a good structure. a general education, a firm tradition. But the firm tradition, the general education, isn't meant to live our whole lives within. It's there as a stepping stone towards personal development. The outer doctrine only serves as a starting place for the long, winding road of discerning our inner doctrine. And you don't get to discern that inner doctrine if you don't listen to the inner voice, if you don't listen to what's happening to you on the inside. And what I'm seeing here, Capricorn, is that you know where sanctuary is. That inner voice knows where sanctuary is. That inner voice knows how you're needlessly suffering. So change your worldview. Challenge the dogma in order to make space for what you're feeling and you're observing. Because right now your gut and your heart is not fitting within the set of codes and rules and ideas that you were taught, period. These feelings and this gut that you have, this inner knowing, is trying to give you different information so that you can adjust your doctrine. And it would be crazy to ignore it, to be so faithful to the old doctrine that you're unable to accept new incoming insights. And let that change you. Let yourself be changed by that, because that is the key to accepting the good things that are coming from you, because these good things might not be coming through the same avenues of this outer old doctrine. There's good news, this good stuff on its way to you. Its way in might be through your new ways, your expanded way of existing. So start existing in that space. These things might be coming through the sanctuary, and you won't get to them if you don't let yourself acknowledge that the sanctuary is right behind you. I hope that is inspiring, Capricorn. That was inspiring for me. And I am not a Capricorn, but I feel like that was enlightening. I think everyone could learn something in that. I would love to hear how this looks specifically for you in your life, in your circumstances right now. And I hope that this gives you the strength that you need, encouragement that you might need to push beyond those circumstances, to endure and to thrive beyond them, because you really can do that, Capricorn. You are stronger than what has been projected on you. You are so much deeper than what's been projected on you. Explore what's coming from inside. I'm rooting for you in March. I love you. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.